This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Violand Management Associates. Are you looking to grow sales and increase profits, implement scalable business systems and procedures, get paid faster, or build your business to run efficiently without being overly dependent on you? Violand Management is Restoration's leading source for business coaching and professional training. Call 800-360-3513 for a free consultation or visit violand.com to learn more. Violand, developing people and profits. Hey there, thanks for checking out a fresh episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today, I am excited to be joined by somebody from the Verisk team who's been on the Verisk team for a while and seen the evolution of Exactware and Xactimate over not quite 2 decades. We're not quite to 2 decades yet, but he's getting close. So I am excited to be joined by David Obert. Nope.
Obert.
Obert. See?
I got in your head.
You got in my head. So Obert, and I'm not editing that out. It is what it is at this point, so I apologize. Okay, so he is the VP of Property Technology Solutions at Verisk, which is formerly Exactware, but now under the Verisk umbrella. It has been there for a couple of years. So David, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to toss it over to you to have you introduce yourself, share a little bit about your background on the team, and we're going to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to, and appreciate it, Michelle. Appreciate you having me with you today. So David Obert, not Obert, or there's no weird inflection or anything like that. It's just Obert, but
it's just Obert.
But I've been with the Verisk team. I'm going on 17 years. Actually, I think I might be on my 18th year this year, which is insane, absolutely insane. I had a lot more hair and a little bit less gray in my beard when I started at Exactware at the time, and now Verisk. But yeah, so I started early on. I've been part of the claim solutions for a really long time. It's been really fun to see the evolution of Xactimate, of Exact Analysis, XASP, Contents Track. It's been really cool, and even the inception of ClaimX, and see how that's proliferated throughout the industry. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been really cool to be part of an organization where we really push innovation and we care about innovation. We love that. Just a couple of weeks ago, or I guess it's been about a week and a half ago at the RIA conference, Aaron had an opportunity to get up and speak and talk about innovation and how innovation is a fundamental value for Verisk and the property estimating solutions products. And so a lot of really exciting, cool stuff that we're coming out with. But like I said, to see the evolution and where we've come from, I think about the days of, I came on when we were just finishing up Xactimate 2002. And what 2002 is versus X1 today, I mean, it's a completely different animal, a completely different world, and that's a good thing. It's gotten more robust and a lot of really positive things to help our contractors, as well as our carriers and IAs do work in the claims workflow and process. So yeah.
So if you had like a timeline of Exactware from 2002 to today in your head, what are some of the big highlights that stick out, the big steps forward, the big innovations, the big points through that where the innovations just were really cool?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. That's a great question. I think one of, Sketch by itself has gone through a lot of changes over that time. I look at Sketch. If you think about Sketch back in Xactimate 2002 and even 24 and 25 and 27, there were some pretty major leaps in just the Sketch functionality that were pretty incredible. We added some just insanely robust algorithms into the application. You think about the carpet algorithm, you think about framing algorithm, how it automatically calculates some of these line items based on what you're doing. That whole concept of graphically estimating really matured throughout the last 10, 15 years. It's been pretty incredible. I would say that's a big one. I think as I think back, I think ClaimX was very opportune when we really started pushing ClaimX and having that video collaboration aspect during COVID. That was huge for the contractors, for homeowners. People didn't want you in the home. This gave people, homeowners, policyholders, a way to communicate with the people that were trying to make them whole. and at a time where they didn't want people walking into their house. I know I didn't. We were very cautious and careful. We have some high risk people that I'm around often, and we were really cautious about that stuff. Luckily, I didn't have a claim, but those that did, it was a welcome thing. I think one of the other big things that I'm really excited about right now is Exactexpert. There's some really cool stuff that is going to be coming with Exactexpert. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of buzz around Exactexpert, and I think that's another. I mean, that's coming imminently, and I think that's going to fundamentally shift the way that we do work and the way that we validate the work that we do inside Xactimate. So I'm really excited about that as well. So I think there's, we're on the cusp of some big innovation as well. So there's some really good things, but I think, and I'm missing a whole bunch of other things. Obviously, we did a lot of stuff in Exact Analysis to help with workflow administration and things like that. We did stuff in XASP. There's Exact XA Insights that is super cool and gives insight into your data and the claims that you work. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, and I'm just highlighting just a few there, but some really cool stuff that we've worked on over the years that I've either been part of or I've actually been able to witness as well. So.
How many people work on your team and are working on Xactimate and some of these other like Exact Analysis and stuff like that, these products within this ecosystem?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know the breakdown exactly how many individual employees, but holistically, I mean, we have hundreds of employees here that at PES that support our products, and there's various different ways, right? You think about our pricing services, and you've got a team of 80 plus people that are helping on the pricing services side that may not be directly working on Xactimate per se, but they are inherently, because they're doing the pricing research to help build up the pricing that is available in Xactimate. There's a lot of different supporting groups that assist, whether that's training or, there's a lot of that, but from an exact headcount, I don't know that I've got that off the top, Michelle, unfortunately.
That's all right. I didn't need exact. Your answer was what I was looking for. I'm curious, I think it's helpful for contractors to know, this isn't just a couple people. Obviously, it's too big.
Oh, no. Yeah,
piece of software for it to be a couple people. Obviously, that's way underestimating. But I think it's important for people to realize that there is a huge team that's working on this and keeping it cohesive and updates and all that. How often are there updates to Xactimate? Contractors probably know this. I don't know.
Yeah, so Xactimate traditionally at minimum quarterly. There are updates that go out, and I know that often happens more frequently than that, but at minimum quarterly. And I think we have a similar cadence with Exact Analysis and the like.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk about AI. I know that that's an area that you're passionate about. That's an area that this space is continuing to go into, right? So talk about AI and I guess where you think it's going in the property insurance space in general.
Well, I think Michelle, maybe even taking a step back and talking a little bit about AI holistically, generally, because it's a big buzz term, man. We're getting a lot of people that are saying, hey, AI, it's where it's at. And I know generally, so contractors specifically, I think a lot of times they don't think that AI is going to impact them directly, right? At the end of the day, AI is not going to keep me from swinging my hammer.
Right.
That may be that's iRobot style movie, type of stuff, right? That's not anything that's going to happen anytime soon. I think a lot of contractors, at least contractors that I've spoken to, they're like, it's not really relevant to me. I mean, it's cool, right? I can get on ChatGPT and I can ask it a question or tell it to do something for me and it'll do something, right? And that's really cool, but I don't really see how it's going to impact my business. But I want to take a step back just a little bit and talk a little bit more generally about AI and what AI really is, right? So there's a few different kinds of AI, and I'm not going to get into all of the detailed specifics around different types of AI, because you can get into lots of neural networking and I mean there's all kinds of craziness that you can get into when it comes to that. But I want to touch on three high level different types of AI. The first of which is kind of a rules-based system.
Okay.
In other words, something happens and the machine does something for you, right? Very simply. So it's kind of an if else type of statement. So if this happens, then do this, otherwise do this other thing, right? And so really simple, very, very commonly used, and people don't really realize how commonly used it is. The second area that I want to touch on is machine learning. And effectively what machine learning allows AI to do is it allows you to train an AI model to learn from data and make predictions or decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's kind of the next step, right? That's that next level, and then you get into this kind of tertiary level, which is more of the deep learning, where you get into some of those more neural networks and things like that. I liken this, a great example of this type of AI is the type of AI that we're getting in our cars right now. So companies like Tesla, Ford with Blue Cruise, Chevy, there's all kinds of different technologies for these cars that are doing this autonomous driving. Mm-hmm. I was actually just got back from San Francisco, and we saw, I don't know if you're familiar with Waymo. And these are robo taxis that literally you can be part of their beta program, and they will pick you up and driverlessly take you somewhere. They've got all kinds of sensors and different things like that, but this is all neural network type of stuff where, there's a lot of intelligence, a lot of data that's being fed into this. So the reason I wanted to bring all these three specific areas of AI up is because some of these are going to have direct ramifications and implications for the contractor as we look forward to the future. And some of these are actually already interacting with contractors today. You think about rules-based systems, right? Exactexpert's a great example of that. It's a rules-based system. You could classify it as a form of AI. You really could, because ultimately what it's trying to do is just trying to help you make appropriate decisions based on how you're estimating. It's trying to guide you through the estimate. That's really what it's trying to do ultimately. And so there's some really cool technology around that. And again, you could classify that into AI. There's a lot more of that. I don't see, as we kind of talk about AI is not something, in my opinion, that I see as, we have to be cautious. There's no question. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of training that we can do for artificial intelligence that can create challenges. As human beings, we can train AI to have very specific, what's the word I'm looking for here?
I start throwing words out, but I don't want to throw the wrong word.
Yeah, no. Well, bias.
Okay.
Is a good word for it.
Yes.
So because AI is trained by humans currently, we inherently have our own biases, whether they're known or unknown, right? We have these biases that we can input into AI, and all of a sudden AI starts regurgitating those types of biases as well. But we have to be cautious about it generally and holistically. However, there's some really cool things that I think AI is going to help fundamentally change for the contractor. I think about one area, and we talked a little bit about the claims process, but another area is just your back office work. So if you think about the way that you have your accounts receivable, your accounts payable, ARAP type of stuff, you think about the way that you make money, you think about the way that you manage your business. There are lots of automations that as you start thinking about what your business is doing and how your business is running, there's a lot of automations that you might be able to plug in to each of those individual areas. Like I said, accounting is a great example of that. There's tons of products out there, and companies like Microsoft, companies like QuickBooks, and I mean, they are bringing in artificial intelligence into their applications to help augment what they can do for you as a business owner. That's a major push. Yeah. You look at examples of maintenance of items, or even you think about, and I'm gonna spitball here for a second, but you think about water mitigation, and you're taking readings, you're doing all this stuff. AI could tell you exactly how long you need to run a dehume for, or it could tell you how much damage it anticipates in the walls, or if there's mold damage or whatever. It can start calculating all of this information for you, that you don't need x-ray vision anymore. All of a sudden, man, I'm going to need to tear out this wall because of whatever, the flood damage was this or that or whatever. So there's a lot of potential opportunity around those things to fundamentally change. Now, is it going to replace you as the contractor? No, I don't think that's anytime soon. Remotely, you get into robotics and things like that, and who knows, right? There's all kinds of crazy stuff out there that is that could potentially be, something more in line with that. But the short-term reality is that all of these things are going to help you augment your business. And what is going to be key to the contractor is ensuring that they are leveraging AI appropriately. Because I think what is going to change is that those contractors, those folks that are leveraging AI they're going to level up compared to those around them, compared to those contractors that surround them and the work that they're doing. I can do more, faster, better, more accurately, whatever, as a contractor that's leveraging these technologies, as opposed to one that's not. And so, in my opinion, it's better to get on the bandwagon now and get your arms wrapped around what things are out there, what things can help serve you currently, and then try and help manage your business around some of those things. So anyway, that was a lot there. Michelle. But
that was a good answer. And I'm glad that you started from the types of AI and explained all of that, because I didn't even know that. So that was a great explanation and a good place to start. So when you look at our space, then, are there examples of infancy AI that you see where it's like, that's going to be a good idea, or that's something to look at? Like, I think of LiDAR, which isn't really, I don't think that new, but I think most contractors have not heard of LiDAR. I mean, I saw it demoed a full year ago at Access, I think, and it was probably around before that. But most contractors, I say that out loud and they're like, what are you talking about? So, maybe you have a different example, but something like that where it's like, hey, contractors, pay attention to this. This could be a game changer for you.
I think we're on the cusp of many things. I think, like I said, I think, natural language models have gotten a lot of fanfare recently because of ChatGPT.
Yep.
And being able to type something into a tool and it gives you a response. I think what we're going to see more of is the customer experience for a policyholder, for a homeowner, leveraging those types of tools to help update them, as opposed to coming directly to the contractor. I think I've seen a lot of push going that direction right now, because again, it's really hot, because ChatGPT is making it really hot, right? So I see a lot of this natural language processing type of stuff coming out, that they're really targeting the contractor and saying, hey, you don't need to interact with the homeowner. Let our chatbot interact with the homeowner on your behalf, and then we'll feed data back to them based on the project, based on what you're working on, based on where you're at in the process, as opposed to having them pick up the phone, or you picking up the phone and spending time, which could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, based on the number of questions that they may have about what's going on. And we've all been in that scenario, right? Yep. So I'm seeing a lot around that specifically right now in the industry. Yes. And Verisk is also looking at incorporating things like that within our tools as well. Our restoration manager product, and we're looking at how can we incorporate AI into helping manage the job better for the contractor, but also for the policyholder, because that's a big deal. When you've got policyholders involved, they want to know. I have a claim. I want to know what's going on. What's the expectation? Who's showing up at my house today? Do I need to not be here? Do I need to be here? And there's a lot of overhead that goes along with that. And typically the office manager or the owner of the business is dealing with that on the daily. And that can be a lot.
It is a lot.
No question. So
yes, it is. And there's nothing more frustrating on the customer side when you're expecting somebody and they don't show up, or you're not expecting somebody and they do show up, or you have no idea what's going on. And, it's a lot to manage, and contractors are busy. So that's a great opportunity. Okay. Anything else you want to share in the AI space that we didn't talk about? I have another moving kind of forward question in the conversation, but anything else you think we should touch on with AI?
No. I think probably, like I said, the biggest thing that I would suggest to the people watching this is just to keep your ear to the ground, watch for some of these things, and let it help you in your business. I think often, I like I said, I talk to contractors all the time, and specifically, and contractors don't like, well, I don't want to say this generally, but there's a lot of contractors that don't like technology. They don't like the change. They feel like, hey, I've done things a certain way, I'm good at it. And there's no question you are, but there's also opportunity to make your business better, to increase your cash flows, to make more money. Like, those are all things that we want as business owners, is to be more profitable, and allow the technology to help you be more profitable. That's really a key. And so I would probably leave the AI segment with that, okay. Just really keep your ears to the ground, see if there's areas that it can help your business. And if there is, jump on it as quickly as you can and have it help you.
So on the keep your ears to the ground, where do you recommend contractors go if they're thinking, I want to be up to date on what's going on? I want to know about these new technologies or platforms or AI possibilities or whatever. What resources do you use to keep up on things? What resources should contractors use? I mean, RA was one of them, right? Like there were some insurance related panels there, and there are at other conferences, but do you have other areas that you suggest?
Yeah, it's funny. One of the areas that has turned into a very informative from my standpoint has actually been LinkedIn.
Okay.
I actually get a lot of content and detail, and there's a lot of really great technologists that you can follow on LinkedIn. Twitter's another area. Social media is a big spot where there's a lot of buzz going on around AI and how that is impacting businesses and things like that. And so I find that the social media aspect is hugely beneficial, no question. But I also subscribe to some different channels on like Reddit and things like that really get into AI and get in the minutia of it. I don't know that I would suggest going that level because for a lot of people it's way too much detail. I nerd out about it a little bit. I like that stuff. But it's all very bleeding edge. It's very, computational theory and things like that. It's the average person doesn't care about that stuff. Frankly, sometimes I don't either, but but it is what it is. That's where.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you the type of person that has a smart house? Like everything in your house is like.
I do.
I'm sure it's fun.
Do.
We have a lot of that too.
It's a blast. I hook everything to Google and we're a Google Home house. But I hook everything to Google and everything is automated and I love it. Like my wife, because my wife is always, did you lock the front door? Did you lock the front door? We just tell Google, lock the front door and it's locked. It's amazing. Like I don't even have to get out of bed to do it. It's incredible. So yes. I love it. Love it.
We just, when you're gone, like raise the blinds, lower the blinds, turn off the
lights. There you go. It's fun stuff.
Yep. Okay. So going back to the Xactimate conversation a little bit, is if there's one thing that you could tell contractors that you wish that they knew about Xactimate that they maybe don't know or seem to miss or something, what is something that you wish that the contractor community knew about Xactimate? Or maybe it's Verisk or maybe whatever, but.
I would say something that we often, or I often hear about Xactimate is lack of understanding around our line items. I think for me if I owned a contractor or if I was a contractor or owned a contracting business, I would get extremely familiar with our line items. There is power around choosing the correct line items when you're building out your estimates. There is absolute power. And we get tons, our poor Greg Pine, who leads our pricing team, he gets hammered a lot of times with a lot of questions about our pricing, our line items and pricing and things like that. But the reality is there's a lot of opportunity to select the right line items, to make sure that you're actually scoping or estimating with the appropriate stuff. Because more times than not, when a comment comes to us about a challenge with a line item or something like that, we'll redirect them to a different line item because they didn't realize that there was another line item that actually factors in some of that. If you're part of the Xactimate Ninjas Facebook page, I see more commentary around line items and what line item is this than I see any other commentary, like at all, like often. And it's because there are lots of line items, but I think that choosing the correct line item, understanding our pricing, understanding our the way our line items are structured, I think is insanely important when you're running your business. I really do. So from my perspective, that would be a number one, like fundamental that I think is insanely important.
Yes. Maybe people should start having quizzes. What is this acronym? What do these
yeah, right.
4 letters mean? Ready, go.
Well, I mean, we get so caught up in using FCCAV for carpet, right? And that we don't realize that there's more to it than just that, right? There's other line items that you build up in order to replace carpet, like pad or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, like I think we get so used to the different terms or whatever that we aren't adventurous with the line items that we use, and there's some good stuff in there. Anyway, so
adventurous with line items. I like it.
Be adventurous. That's right.
Be adventurous. Okay. Well, before we wrap it up, I love to ask people to share. You talked about your favorite resources for AI and whatever where you go, but what about podcasts and books and leadership or technology or whatever that may be? What are some of your, even if it's a pastime? I always share, people ask me, what books do you like to read or what podcasts do you listen to? I like true crime podcasts, and I read like fiction, not nonfiction. I read too many nonfiction things during the day. So it can be whatever it is. You can, whatever, fun.
Well, so I'm in line with you a little bit, Michelle. So I read a lot of nonfiction stuff. I read a lot of leadership type books and things like that. But there has to be a little bit of palate cleansing. You know what I mean? You have a little bit of palate cleansing. So I just finished like the Wheel of Time series. So I'm making myself sound super nerdy, but I like kind of fantasy type books. I don't know why. But I kind of get into that. So I finished the Wheel of Time series. It took me 2.5 years to actually get through it, which is insane because they have 1 million books. But did just recently finish that. So that's pretty cool. But, and as far as podcasts, this is going to sound terrible. I listen probably the most to car podcasts and EV type podcasts, as weird as that is, like Tesla type stuff and whatever, because, like I said, I'm a technologist. I like technology and stuff. And I get really excited about that stuff. Tesla's on the bleeding edge of a lot of different things, like I said, neural networks and things like that in the way that they do full self-driving, the FSD package that they've got for it. There's some really cool technology that Tesla's implemented with True Vision and as opposed to LiDAR and sonar and different things like that, like other vehicles use. They're actually using cameras. And anyway, so I get super nerded up on that type of stuff. It's a lot of fun to listen to different podcasts about that and read up about that stuff. So I do. But I find that I like technology and I like cars. And so something that brings those two things together is like the ultimate for me. So
I totally get that. I get that. And I agree with you on needing a brain break or a palate cleansing, because I read enough nonfiction articles in a day. Like by the end of the day, I'm not reading any more nonfiction.
Right. Anyway. I feel that.
All right. Well, David, thank you very much for joining me. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I just appreciate you having me on, Michelle. Really do.
For more Restoration Today and the latest news, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, and find the latest episodes of the Restoration Today podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.